Welcome back to another episode of the All It Takes No Whiffs podcast. We have another great episode lined up this week. We had a great weekend of boxing, some great matches, and some history was actually completed from some of the people we talked about last week. So that's pretty cool. And before we get started, if y'all want, y'all can like and you can subscribe and turn on notifications to let y'all know when we post new videos. But to get things started this week, we're going to be talking about the AL MVP race and how it really isn't a race. A lot of people are making it a race, but it's not. We're also going to be talking about the NL East divisional race and how the Mets and Braves, it's coming down to the wire. They play a 3-game series here in a couple of weeks, so it's going to come down to that series, it looks like. And then we're also going to recap the Triple G and Canelo fight and the Bam Rodriguez versus Israel Gonzalez. And then we're also going to preview the Shakur Stevenson versus Robson, and I'm going to say his last name wrong, but Conceição, something like that. But this should be a good fight this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it.
I respect the effort. And yeah, great fight coming up this weekend. This baseball talk, I'm really looking forward to this though because this MVP race, like Alex said, it's not really close, but it's a conversation, so it's weird. But looking forward to it. With only about 2 weeks left in the regular season, this AL MVP race has really been a topic all over social media, just all over the baseball world in general. And I do think it's an interesting discussion because it's a weird way to feel because the two guys that are in the race right now are Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani, to put it out there first, he's had an amazing season. He is pitching better than he has last year. ERA is looking better. He's about to have a 200 strikeout season in, I would say, not a full-time pitcher role. He doesn't get as many innings usually. And he's taken a step up with pitching. The bat is nearly identical, just a little lower than last year. And that really makes it an argument that he's having a better season this year. With all that in mind, Aaron Judge is still the MVP. Aaron Judge is putting up history that I know we're talking about Ohtani being historically great as a two-way player. We haven't seen that since Babe Ruth, I guess you can say. But Aaron Judge is doing something that hasn't been done by a clean player in I don't know how long. It's really insane. As of last night, Aaron Judge is holding the triple crown right now in the American League. First in average, first in home runs and RBIs. This is looking wild, Alex. Aaron Judge already over 10 WAR for the season. I don't know how you can make the argument, even though you can make the argument that Shohei's having a better season than he did last year when he won unanimous MVP.
Yeah, I really don't see how this is a conversation. I mean, I can see how it is kind of a conversation. Otani, his numbers are absurd this year. 2.43 ERA, 13-8 on the year. Like you said, about to get to 200 strikeouts, and he's really isn't pitching that many innings. This stuff is absolutely nasty.
Mm-hmm.
The bat, like you said, has regressed a little bit. Really, it's only regressed in the power. Not really, I would say power, just really home runs. He's got more doubles and more triples this year than he did last year. But I mean, what we're seeing from Aaron Judge this year is just absolutely historical. Buster Only, ESPN sports writer, baseball writer today, said that this may be the best season that he's ever seen. And I don't blame him. Dude's hit 60 home runs this season. There's like 12 games left. This is the 9th occurrence this has ever happened that someone's ever reached 60 home runs. This is just a huge accomplishment, and the fact that he's got the average with it, just really emphasizes how good of a season this dude's having. And he's going into free agency this offseason. I mean, dude couldn't have bet on himself more, to be honest. I mean, this dude's going to get paid in the offseason. And honestly, whoever gets him, they're going to get a hell of a player because honestly, if you really look at Aaron Judge and all of his seasons, when he's healthy, he is a top hitter in baseball. When I mean top hitter, I mean one or two.
Mhm.
It's not even close really, because this dude, if you look at his season from 2017 and this year when he's been fully healthy both years, it's been unbelievable, honestly. And this is truly one of the best hitters and players in just all of baseball.
Honestly, I feel like the Yankees should just offer like all of New York City to Judge because, yeah, like Alex said, he's about to break the bank because he bet on himself at a perfect time and put up numbers that not even the biggest of Aaron Judge fans would have expected going into this year. I would say going into this year, I would expect something around like 280, 290 on the high side initially, and then like 50, like low 50 home runs. That's what I was expecting. This is just different though. And back to Otani, I don't want to really sound like I'm speaking on his stats negatively. I'm definitely not. They're amazing in what they are. But I feel like a lot of the people making the argument for Otani for MVP, they're putting a little too much weight on the spectacle of what Otani is because a two-way player, obviously, it's insane in itself. But when you take all his numbers, add them together, how much value he has, he still doesn't match Aaron Judge. So I just I can see the argument because what Shohei does, nobody does it. Nobody has done it in a very long time. But Aaron Judge is about to make history in itself, potentially breaking the AL home run record while winning a triple crown. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put that over the two-way spectacle.
Yeah, and Shohei's going to be in the MVP conversation every single year just because he's a two-way player. So this narrative is going to be here for a while until Shohei shows some aggression or just chooses one side.
Mm.
So um, to get back to really what we were talking about with the whole controversial talk about really who's the MVP. I mean, there's no question on who the MVP is. It's definitely Aaron Judge. And
Mhm.
if you think it's Shohei Ohtani, you're either a huge Shohei Ohtani fan, a Los Angeles Angels fan, or just a New York Yankees hater, to be honest. Because I mean, Aaron Judge deserves this honestly more than anybody. This is definitely his award, and if he doesn't get it, this is just straight up robbery. Even worse than last time it happened to him.
Way worse than 2017, to be honest, because Shohei's definitely, in my opinion, having a better season than what Altuve did in 2017. But the gap, I would say, was still closer in 2017.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, that was Jose Altuve's best season as a professional too. Was a ridiculous season for him. Was a ridiculous season for Judge. But this season or this season we are seeing for Judge right now is just absolutely unreal. And I'm not thinking. I know he's gonna break the home run record, the AL home run record. It's just a matter of when is he gonna do it.
Like, look at these numbers. I'm sorry, Shohei Ohtani, one of my favorite players in baseball. But look at this: 60 plus home runs while being a plus 300 hitter, getting on base over 40% of the time, slugging in the 700s. Like, I'm sorry. Aaron Judge is worth more than what Shohei Ohtani has been doing on the mound and at the plate. Mostly with his bat, because honestly, this season Aaron Judge has not been too much of a plus defensively, barely, if anything. So he's got a 10.5 WAR right now, with the bat carrying the majority of it. That I think that just speaks volumes, to be honest with you.
Oh no, it definitely does. And I think he's gonna end up getting this MVP award. If he doesn't, I don't know what's going on in Major League Baseball. It's gonna be like some of those judges in boxing, but that's a different story. But moving on to another tight race that is going on, we have the National League East divisional race is coming down to the wire. This is one of the This is two of the best teams in baseball. And it's really wasn't that much of a race until probably the All-Star break when the Mets kind of started to go downhill. They got hot again. They're kind of on and off right now. They have Scherzer back. We all know what DeGrom's doing. The guy's just the greatest pitcher in baseball right now. But this is turning into a really good race. We got 3 games against the New York Mets up in a week or so, and I'm really looking forward to that. So, Christian, what are your thoughts on this race and how it's coming down?
Man, it's honestly been an insane race because first off, I know how you and a few other friends feel. You guys are on the edge of your seats, I bet, because I feel like this one game gap has been here for longer than what people would hope for. And I remember you guys got the lead for a little bit. That was a day or two, but it's been razor thin that entire time, and I'm still of the opinion that the Braves are gonna take it. I feel like with you guys having this last series, well, not the last series, but one of the final series of the seasons against them, that's about to be huge. And I'm still of the opinion that the Braves are a better team depth wise. So I feel like they may edge that out. It just depends if you guys run into both DeGrom and Scherzer, and I'm sure they are going to line it up like that. So yeah, but this entire race, the whole second half has been great. The Mets, even though they have regressed a little and caught fire again, they're holding on, which is what I'm surprised about. And I'm not surprised about the Braves though. Last year's champions, they're coming back for a repeat potentially, and their roster is just as good, if not better, than last year. So this is wild. I want to hear your thoughts on this though, because I know you and Braves fans are just locked in right now because this is huge.
Yeah, it is, and it's been a little weird because the Mets have one of the easiest schedule going down the stretch starting in the beginning of September, and they just have fumbled it so hard, to be honest. We have had, I wouldn't say one of the hardest schedule, but a harder schedule, and we've been beating teams left and right. We lost to the Washington Nationals today, but we were going to lose a game or two here anyway. And the fact that they still haven't really gained that many games on us with this easy schedule too has really kind of made me think that the Mets really aren't as good as I thought they were. I said earlier this month, before that they went on this easy stretch, that I figured that they would just blow everyone out of the water and they would just not run away with the division, but keep a steady lead to where those 3 games at the end of the month really wouldn't matter. But that's not been the case. Braves have been playing really well. Got Ozzy back. Literally comes back for 1 game, breaks his finger sliding into second base. Probably won't be back till the postseason. Even if he comes back, but
Not 100%, probably.
no, he won't be 100%, but they got Starling Marte who did the same thing. I don't know how he broke his finger, but he hurt his finger somehow. He's on the IL too. So both teams kind of banged up. Pitching staffs have been unbelievable this year. Spencer Strider, I really don't know what more to say about this kid. I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. He could win Cy Young this year as a rookie. I really think he could. I think maybe the innings is the only reason why he wouldn't. Dude's got a 2.65 ERA with over 200 strikeouts and probably will still have another start or two. So, and there's not really many names above him, but I don't want to get that too much out there. I just want to go ahead and get that out there. Going back onto this, but who do you think is going to end up winning this? Do you think it's going to come down to that last series, or do you think there's going to be a lead taken before?
I'm gonna stick with my take on the Braves holding, getting the lead by the end, but it's just too damn close right now to even confidently say because it's like the meter is that much at the tipping point. Like one game, say tomorrow, Mets lose, you guys win. That's
It's a
that's
whole
you
game.
guys.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a whole game gained.
like This is just crazy. This is one of those races that it's, and my favorite thing about this race is that it's between two of like the best teams in baseball overall. Like either one of these teams has a potential chance to make a deep run in the postseason. So it's going to be a fun way to end off the regular season before we get to what really matters.
It is true. And I think that first round bye might be pretty big because whoever wins this is definitely going to be that number 2 seed. And whoever doesn't get the division is going to be the number 1 in the wild card. And that's going to be a big difference, to be honest, I feel like, because A, you won't have to play the Dodgers in the second round in the division round. And you only have to play them in the NLCS. So this is definitely going to be an interesting race to watch down the rest of the way. And of course, I'll be paying extra special attention to it just because it's my team. But I'm just really looking forward to this, and hopefully my team will come out on top.
Going into the boxing world, we're coming off a pretty solid weekend of boxing, in my opinion. Canelo Triple G3, solid card for sure. You had Bam Rodriguez, he put on a show. But let's start off with the main event. Interesting fight, in my opinion. Triple G, like I thought, looked old, and Canelo won by unanimous decision. The scorecards were closer than I expected because I really think Canelo won about 9 rounds. And I think he won the first 8 rounds, to be honest with you. I feel like Triple G tried turning it up late. It was a little too late for that. And it was an entertaining fight, though. Once Triple G really got it going, I saw flashes of like the chess match that the second fight was, and some of the first, I guess you could say, even though that's another discussion. But yeah, it was entertaining at that point. But rounds 1 through 8, Canelo was just getting his work in. To be honest with you, Triple G did not look good to me, and some people feel like that it took away from the fight. I could see where they're coming from, but no, I feel like we still got a solid entertainment out of it.
Yeah, we did. And my biggest takeaway from this fight is that the judges were not watching the fight. I mean, these scorecards 116, 112, 115, 113. I mean, you're telling me that Triple G won 7 or 8 rounds, 5, 6, 7 rounds? No, there's no way that he won. I mean, I just don't understand why boxing judges keep on getting these cards wrong or scorecards wrong. And we even heard it from the announcers afterwards. They were very confused too, and they didn't understand. But that's my little rant on that. But other than that, Canelo looked extremely dominant, to be honest. Triple G, like you said, looked slow. To be honest, it really didn't even look like he wanted to be there in the first couple rounds, in my opinion. He just didn't want to throw punches. His feet were so stagnant. It just looked like he couldn't move. I don't dude still wants to fight, but I don't think he should. I mean, he still does have raw power, but he's definitely way past his prime. Canelo went in there, did his job. I'm not really too surprised with that, to be honest. I kind of expected, or not expected, I did expect it to go all 12. And he just really got a nice sparring session in, it looked like, kind of at some points, because Triple G did not punch a lot in the beginning of the fight. So I'm not really quite sure what's next for Triple G, but what about Canelo, Christian? Who do you want to see him fight next?
Next, I want to see either David Benavidez or Jamal Charlo. I know David Benavidez, that's the one making the most noise right now. But I feel like either one of those two fights would be real good. I think something in between, if he does want to take a rematch against Bivol eventually, I think he needs to get a game plan in the works right now. He's got to build up to that. So either Charlo or Benavidez for sure. And real quick, I just want to say this. I feel like these judges are in on it. I think there's a lot of people. I don't know if it's the fact that, listen, I got respect for Triple G, all-time great fighter. I don't know if they were trying to make amends or whatever for Triple G getting the short end of the stick definitely in the first fight. I can hear the argument for the second fight with how close it was. I feel like they were just trying to make that, get Triple G his due justice or whatever you want to say. But my thing is, I saw people saying Triple G won the first round and the fifth round. Triple G did not win a single round for the first 2/3 of the fight. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah,
just what it was, objectively.
yeah, he may have won. He definitely won round 9, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first round he really turned it on. And then he maybe won around 11 and then maybe 12 too. But other than that, I mean, I don't see how people say that he won a round before round 8. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But
Mm-hmm.
this was a really good fight for Canelo, at least. I'm really excited to see where he moves on forward. He's got a lot of options. He's talked about moving divisions and everything. So we'll see Canelo around for a very long time, I'm sure. Triple G, not really quite sure, but I know this next guy, we will see him around for a while, and that's Jesse Bam Rodriguez. He defeated Israel Gonzalez by unanimous decision, and honestly, the scorecard on this, I think it was a little closer, the 118, 109,
Mm-hmm.
117, 110. The 114, 113, not sure about that, but definitely the other two scores should be a little closer. But this was a good fight for Bam. I think this was one that he kind of expected to come out and dominate. I expected him to come out and dominate too, and he got tested. He definitely got tested. Gonzalez put up a really good fight against him, and I was just really impressed to see Rodriguez go all 12 and still look pretty good at the end of the fight, to be honest. What were your thoughts about it?
Honestly, I would say this is more of a credit to Gonzalez coming in and bringing the fight to Bam because I thought Bam still looked solid. He was getting solid work in, especially a lot of work on the inside. But Gonzalez, he was throwing right back. My thing is he wasn't putting together, the quality punches that I think Bam was doing, but he was mixing it up in there. And honestly, not at one point did it look like Bam had him seriously hurt, like something was like he was going to be able to go for the stoppage. And I kind of agree with you. These scorecards are a little close. If I were to have to say, from what I recall, I feel like Bam probably won a cool 9 rounds. So I'm cool with the 117, 110 at the highest margin, but I do feel like 114, 113 is a little too close. And with how everything went with the point deductions, I'm not gonna complain about the scorecards because yeah, it's not like a clear cut thing. Even though I do think Bam won 9 rounds, about those take those 2 points away from him, and it's a bit more of a conversation. But credit to Gonzalez. Not saying that I'm gonna be looking forward to what he does next, but we could potentially see him in the mix of maybe of some more competitive fights with some big names. Credit to him.
Yeah, and I'm kind of looking forward to see where Bam goes next. I know he's got a couple options coming up. He was asked in an interview earlier this week who he would prefer to fight. So, Christian, who do you want to see Bam fight next?
I want to see Bam fight the winner of this rematch between Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez and Juan Francisco Estrada. Uh, this is a conversation for another time, but those fights between those two are some classics. Check those out when you get a chance. Anybody. But even though they're probably going to make for another classic fight, these guys are some elite boxers. I think Bam is in the mix with them, and regardless of who he fights between those two, I give Bam the edge. Yeah, he's got the talent and he's got youth on his side. I want to see him fight the winner of those two because, in my opinion, Chocolatito is an all-time great. Estrada is one of the best lighter weight class fighters in boxing right now. Either fight, whoever wins that fight, the fight with Bam would be huge. That's what I want to see for Bam next.
Yeah, and I think that's probably who we're going to see next too.
Oh yeah,
Bam came out and said that he wants to fight Chocolatito, and I don't blame him either.
December 3rd.
December 3rd. Okay. But that's going to be a really good fight coming up here in December. Hopefully we'll have an opponent for Bam by then, or if Bam just wants to wait for the winner of that fight, that would be great too. But moving on to this weekend's fights, we got probably one of the best young boxers in all of boxing fighting this weekend. Probably my favorite boxer right now, and Shakur Stevenson. And before we get into the fight's actually Friday night. It's not Saturday, so be ready for a Friday night fight instead of a Saturday night. But let's dive into this fight, Christian. What do you think about this?
First off, the Friday thing is a little weird, but we'll work with it. It's cool, I guess. This is an interesting fight, in my opinion, because I do think this is about to be on the competitive level, same competitive level as Shakur versus Valdez, because Robson Conceição, he mixed it up with Valdez not too long ago, and it was a controversial win for Valdez. I personally think that Robson won that fight, and this is him getting a chance at getting his title back plus a couple more. I think this is a huge opportunity for him. Unfortunately, he's facing one of the best boxers in the world right now, who's also one of the youngest names in boxing that is just out there. Shakur, he is that guy. He's already in the pound for pound mix. And this fight most likely is just going to be another show, another part of the Shakur show, because he's just on the path towards number one. In my opinion, it's eventually going to happen. But never say never, because Robson Conceição, he is a very solid boxer in my opinion, and I think he can make this a real competitive fight.
Yeah, and like you said, you think Valdez, or he actually beat Valdez. Shakur actually just fought Valdez too in his previous fight and beat him pretty easily too, in my opinion. Fight went all 12 rounds. Shakur knocked him down in the 6th round. But Shakur had his way that entire fight, and that's kind of how I think this fight's gonna go again. Not go again, but how this fight will go. I think it will be a little more competitive than Valdez, like you said, but I definitely think Shakur is gonna overpower him. He's gonna overwhelm him. And that defense, I mean, is there anybody who has better defense than Shakur Stevenson? Because, I mean, this dude just does not get hit. I think I saw a stat the other day that says he gets hit, I think it's 14 times per round, and that's punches landed on him. And that's just freaking crazy, to be honest, if you really think about it. And dude just picks when he wants to punch. And he can see it too. It's this dude is just so good. And I'm so excited for this fight. I just really love watching Shakur fight because this dude, like Christian said, on the path to number one for pound in the world, and he really is going to get there one day. I think he is.
Yeah, man, Shakur, he's just on the path to greatness. I know it's real early. I just feel him. I feel like he's going to be on an all-time great path. He's just got that within his ability and his mentality. With his ability and mentality in mind, my official prediction for the fight, I feel like Shakur is going to style on him, even though it's going to be competitive at times, and he's going to get a decision in his favor. Probably going to be unanimous. I'm going to be a little competitive, but when I say that, probably the 8 to 10 round range for Shakur, maybe a couple for Robson, but yeah, a decision for Shakur. That's my prediction. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I like that prediction. That's a pretty safe bet, to be honest, if you're a betting person for Shakur, because a lot of his fights they don't end by a stoppage, which that's where I'm kind of getting to. I want to see Shakur kind of get some more knockouts. I think he's really gonna go to the body for this fight. Um, Robson, I'm not going to say his last name, but you did a great job saying his last name. He leaves his hands up a little too high when he's fighting. And when he throws some of those power punches, he really leaves himself open. So I think Shakur is maybe going to catch him with a really hard body shot after he's worked the body all night, and he's going to get a stoppage in the 10th round. I think it's going to be a pretty brutal body shot, and That's what I'm really looking forward to. Shakur is not really I wouldn't say known for his body shots, but going back and watching some of his highlights and stuff, I would not want to get hit by that.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of weird with Shakur. Not saying he doesn't have power, but his power is way more noticeable when he goes to the body. It's weird.
It is weird, but it is super effective. I can tell you that because some of the guys that he's stopped that way, the looks on their faces when they get up is not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, Shakur, he really is that guy. Honestly, can't wait to see the day that he has beaten all the guys at 135 that we're talking about right now, because that's what's going to happen, and it's just a matter of time. So they got to keep an eye out. But Shakur fighting this Friday night. Look forward to it.
And that does it for another episode of the All It Takes No Whiffs podcast. This was another great episode this week, talking about some tight races heading down the way in MLB and about last weekend's fights and previewing Shakur Stevenson this weekend, and hopefully he comes out with a dominant dub. But if y'all want, you can follow us on any of our social medias on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ATNW Podcast. And if you want, you can also follow mine at ahendy2215.
And you can also find my personal socials at Christian_S52. Be sure to like and subscribe, and also turn notifications on to be notified when our new content drops. Also, go ahead and leave a comment on your thoughts on what this Shakur Stevenson versus Robson Conceição fight is going to end up like. Let us know how you think the fight's going to go. Let us know what you think is next for both of these fighters, because this is about to be something serious right here. Solid fight coming up.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing where these fighters go next, and we'll catch y'all next week. Peace.